This is a second video about an experience that I had while waiting in a Turkish fast food restaurant, and I believe that Hegel's philosophy consists in mediating your experience of the world by the totality of world knowledge, which is impossible in every specialized field, but you can have a broad picture of the whole of reality and try to interpret your immediate experience of being through this logical detour, if I might say. And the way I see things, the world is the manifestation of the eternal logical ID, so it should be possible theoretically to extract the logical categories at work in the world and to reconstruct knowledge from any experience in the world. So I was in this fast food restaurant, and I noticed that there was American food, Italian food, Turkish food, so it was a mixture. And they sold pizzas, and a pizza is a good example of what the logician differentiates as being universal, particular, singular. A pizza is the concept, it's the notion, the idea, if you will. And a pizza differentiates itself in many particular types of pizzas: margarita, Four Seasons, pepperoni, cheese, whatever. I don't know how you call it in America or wherever, but you know what types of pizza there are. So a type of pizza, the margarita with ham, tomato, olive, mushrooms and cheese, is a particular type of pizza, and each margarita pizza which is ordered by the customer and which is produced by the restaurant is a singular pizza. And the singular is that which excludes from itself all other singulars, but it contains within itself the determinations of the particular and the universal. Each singular margarita pizza is a particular type of pizza and is an embodiment of the universal type of pizza. So it contains within itself the particular and the universal, and particular types in logic exclude one another. They are coordinated. If you choose one particular type of pizza, you reject all other particulars, and the singular is that which rejects all other singulars. It is the universal which contains within itself the whole, and any pizza in the world is a manifestation of the idea of pizzahood or pizzaness, as Plato would call it if he were among us. But there were probably no pizza in ancient Athens, but that's another story. So Hegel shows in his logic that it is in the concept of the universal to particularize itself, to determine itself, in order to give itself an existence. But here we're in the sphere of essence, but pizza is the essence of the singular pizza, and the singular pizza is the existence, the manifestation, the phenomenon of the essence of pizza. But Hegel shows that the essence and the phenomenon develop and bring themselves to the concept, and the concept is what we call the ideas, the Platonic archetype, which maintains its being by particularizing and singularizing itself. And in the Christian religion, God makes himself man and suffers on the cross, and then he's reunited with God through spirit. And this movement is abstract infinity or universality, which particularizes itself and even singularizes itself, which is a limitation, a becoming finite, a becoming limited. And from this finite aspect, it transcends itself towards the infinite, and this reunion of the finite and the infinite is the true infinite, because Hegel tells us that to oppose the finite and the infinite as mutually rejecting one another is a false distinction, it's a false dichotomy, but that the true infinite contains within itself the finite as aufgehoben. So that's the passage from earthly existence to spiritual life. And then in the restaurant, I noticed that there was a fridge with cans of soft soda and beer and drinks. And they were ordered very rationally, very clinically, very strictly in a classical order: Coca-Cola with Coca-Cola, beer with beer, soft drinks with soft drinks, and it was all well and good. But it's an order of der Verstand, which is the understanding, which is the mind of Immanuel Kant, if you will. It's the transcendental ego which classifies order. It's the mind of scientists, the mind of Anglo-Saxons, if you will. And next to the fridge, there was the workers. There were 5 or 6 workers preparing the food, taking the command, the order from the customers, serving the customers and all that. And it seemed chaotic at first glance because they were always on the move. They were doing many tasks. They were walking, talking, moving from one place to the other. So it seemed chaotic, but actually I understood that in order for the restaurant to be productive and to satisfy his customers, it had to have a thorough and extraordinary organization. It requires management and organizing skills and intelligence to make a team of people work together in harmony so that they may be efficient, and that each part shall know what it should do in regard to the whole and to all other parts. And it was masterfully, it was a very simple restaurant, but it was nonetheless masterfully executed, because they served dozens of clients in a very short amount of time, and it was clinical, it was efficient, it was organized, and it requires a lot of intelligence to be a part of the idea and to think about the idea of the organization of mutual interaction. And yeah, so you had 2 examples of the order of the understanding, is that which we see at first glance, and the hidden order of the idea, which is a speculative order in which each part works for the benefit of the whole, and the whole is reflected in each part. And this is in well-functioning companies and businesses, this is how the workers function with one another. And then I thought about the price of the food that they sold. And there is a logical determination in Hegel that we call measure. And measure is a quantitative quality, and everything has its measure, namely that it can change its quantity and remain what it is. The quantitative difference, increase, decrease, is indifferent to the being of a thing, except when it crosses its measure, and then the quantitative change brings about a qualitative change, and the thing ceases to be what it is. And the laws of economics, with which I'm vaguely familiar because I've studied economics, they say the same thing with supply and demand. If the price is too high, the demand will drop, and you will lose money because you will not be able to sold your commodity or your product. If the price that you set for your products is too low, you think, oh, it will attract customers and I will make a lot of money. But the problem is that the price of the ingredients that you buy in order to produce and to manufacture your commodity or your product, they won't change. So if you lower the price, you lower the rentability, how do you say it in English? The making money back, your return on investment. Yeah. So if it's too high, you lose customers. If it's too low, you lose money. In both cases, you lose money, and the business goes bankrupt. So the art of economics, which is a logical art and even a science, is to find the proper measure for the price of each commodity, to set the proper price for each commodity, is to find the quantitative determination, which is the price for each qualitative product, and the business which finds the proper measure, the proper price, the fair price, will attract customers and will make money, and it will benefit everyone. And that's one of the basics of economics, but it can be derived from Hegel's logic. Yeah, so that's what I had to say. And I will just quote the lyrics from a song, The Way I Are, from Timbaland. I ain't got no car to take you on a date. I can't even buy you flowers, but together we can be the perfect soulmates. So this is a message this is a message for everyone. If you lack some qualities as a man, if you have a belief in yourself, if you have confidence in your ability, if you have an inner spark, you can enlighten others. And in the case of interpersonal relationships, if you are a man with no status, no money or whatever, but if you have an inner spark, you can seduce the women that you wish to seduce. And the song says, it's all right, you ain't got a flaunt for me, you can still touch my love, it's free. This is a very deep message, because God, I think that I have understood that about God. God wants to be loved by being recognized in his creation. So to love God is to understand creation and to appreciate creation for being the manifestation of God. And it's the most difficult thing. People might think, oh, it's easy to love God because he's kind and he's wise and he's just and he's beautiful and he's the king and all that. No, because in abstract, yes, but no, because God is also the cause of all suffering, and to truly love God means to appreciate God in the dark aspect and the suffering and painful aspects of existence, and to recognize creation as a whole, as a totality, and to appreciate the totality is very difficult, but it's also easy in the sense that all you have to do is to love what is. That's the most easiest thing, but also the most difficult, because sometimes being is unpleasant. But you have to conceptually understand the presence of God in the least pleasant aspects of existence. And I know that it's extremely difficult, but those who have succeeded in understanding God in all the aspects of being are those who have found God and become one with God. And that's all I had to say. So I tried with my limited cognitive abilities to extract some Hegelian ideas and notions and concepts from a simple experience of waiting in a fast food restaurant, and it gave me a new perspective on many aspects of life, of immigration, economy, ethnic differences, and stuff like that. So I appreciated my experience in this restaurant, but because I succeeded in mediating it with Hegelian thoughts. So that was just to show that Hegel's philosophy is not some realm of shadows living in the mind of God knows who, but it's a living and actual experience of everyday life, and that's what I wanted to share.